Zelensky addressed our Congress just moments ago, I guess. And they, of course, these remarks were delivered virtually. And let's take a listen.
In your great history, you have pages that would allow you to understand Ukrainians, understand us now, when you need it right now, when we need you right now. Remember Pearl Harbor, terrible morning of December 7, 1941, when your sky was black from the planes attacking you. Just remember it. Remember September the 11th, a terrible day in 2001 when evil tried to turn your cities, independent territories, in battlefields, when innocent people were attacked from air. Yes. Just like no one else expected it. You could not stop it. Our country experiences the same every day, right now, at this moment, every night, for 3 weeks now. Various Ukrainian cities, Odessa and Kharkiv, Chernihiv and Sumy, Zhytomyr and Lviv, Mariupol and Dnipro. Russia has turned the Ukrainian sky into a source of death for thousands of people. Russian troops have already fired nearly 1,000 missiles at Ukraine, countless bombs. They use drones to kill us with precision. This is a terror that Europe has not seen for 80 years, and we are asking for a reply, for an answer to this terror from the whole world. Is this a lot to ask for, to create a no-fly zone over Ukraine to save people? Is this too much to ask? Humanitarian no-fly zone, something that Russia would not be able to terrorize our free cities. If this is too much to ask, we offer an alternative. You know what kind of defense systems we need, S-300 and other similar systems. You know how much.
I think that what Zelensky is asking there for is like some type of Iron Dome or something to that effect.
Yeah, which is understandable from his perspective. It's also, I mean, a no-fly zone. It's incumbent upon the West to also just be disciplined or NATO, and not grant that request. I think.
Of course. I mean, it's to be expected that he would call for it. It's to be expected that this is their perspective. And the problem is, it's not just a no-fly zone. It is a step into a conflict that is basically just opening the door to widen it much more. And it can't happen. This is, and I think so far, at least, the administration is being, disciplined, despite the fact there's an enormous pressure, it seems to me. But here's some
of that pressure.
Yep. This is Jen Psaki at the White House press conference.
Zelensky and other Ukrainian officials have made so clear that what they believe they need the most is more warplanes and fighter jets. So why is the U.S. assessing something different? Why does the U.S. believe they know better what Ukraine needs than what Ukrainian officials are saying they need the most?
It sounds like, we're pretty dug in on our position when it comes to the no-fly zone, when it comes to the MiGs, despite this growing bipartisan call in Congress to shift a little bit. So, to put it bluntly, is Zelensky wasting his time tomorrow asking for these things?
President Zelensky is going to be speaking to Congress tomorrow. He's been pushing for fighter jets, a no-fly zone. You have to hear some of those same requests tomorrow as well. Has the administration shifted on that at all?
Really, though, calling for a no-fly zone. They're a NATO member. They share a border with Russia. How do we view their calls for a no-fly zone?
And on President Zelensky's address tomorrow, of course, he is expected to ask for more assistance, as my colleague noted. A lot of the U.S. positions on that haven't changed, as you just said, when it comes to the no-fly zone. But on the aircraft specifically, the Pentagon said last week that Secretary Austin said they do not support the transfer of additional fighter aircraft at this time. Is that still the United States' position?
Would a strike in Poland on supplies or anything really automatically be met with a military forceful response, which would be a conversation amongst allies about how?
There were reports that a Russian drone made its way into Polish airspace before going back to Ukraine and being shot down. Does a drone into Poland count?
Former ambassador to Ukraine, Maria Ivanovich, has been quite outspoken recently, and she said we need to mitigate risk, but it's also true that not taking greater action comes with the risk as well, because Putin is a bully and he only understands strength. Is the president showing enough strength against Putin?
Oh my God.
All right. I mean, I think, we get the idea that The Intercept put that together, but it's amazing. Like as I've said multiple times on the show, there's no understanding of what a no-fly zone means in the general public. There was that poll that came out. There's a perception that it's some sort of force field or like magical, invisible superhero dome over Ukraine, when what it means is shooting down Russian planes. The Russian Air Force is the second largest air force in the world, only second to the United States. This would constitute war. And again, it's entirely understandable that Zelensky is asking for this. From his perspective, I get it. He wants to protect his people. They're under siege. It's a terrifying situation. But for the press to do this, and not, the few times we used no-fly zones, it was against vastly inferior military forces and did not have like a World War III or nuclear type consequence attached to it. The fact that they continue to put that out there without a real weighing of the consequences is unconscionable. It really is.
So you're okay with a bully being bullied?
You want to do a conversation and not a forceful response? Okay, sure.
Okay.
I'm invested in America's weakness, and I also apparently hate Ukrainians.
Were you ever bullied in junior high?
I was the bully.
Okay. All right. And
No,
so
not really.
when well, the point being is that it's just so bizarre to me that when you're talking about this type of geopolitical conflict, that people are literally going back to this experience from elementary school or this experience from junior high.
It's a nuclear capability of a bully.
I mean, the dynamic of a bully, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's like
Bullies
I don't know
have
what to,
nukes.
but I mean, it's not even the stakes are different. The dynamics not the same. A bully doesn't have domestic pressures. A bully does not have power in a group of people who could overthrow the bully internally. The bully doesn't have tens or hundreds of years of history of various constituencies that are at play here. To do the bully thing, it's just like, I mean, I get it when politicians get up there and say this when they're on the stump, but for reporters who are ostensibly there talking in serious voices so they can appear to have be learned in these topics, to use the bully thing is just like, I mean,
it's infantile.
Almost literally.
Yeah.
It's
Almost
also worse
literally.
than that too, because there is an investment, even if it's more subtle to them and they don't perceive it, in the perception of like American might, and also the investment in conflict for conflict's sake. I mean, there war correspondents in this country push for more conflict and more action, I should say, for a reason. For a reason. They're invested in it. It's helpful for their career, and it's something that they are, I think, there's a subliminal understanding that this is just this is better for us.
Well, I think also for those people, those people in the White House who are asking those questions, it is the quickest route to being perceived as being serious.
Yeah.
Because if you are willing to ask the tough questions to see if you're going to make the tough decisions, which means always when you hear the tough choices, tough decisions, hard choices, hard decisions, that is always, in the context of politics or media, it is always deciding that other people are going to suffer. It's either you're going to be making sacrifices in terms of like being able to pay your bills, or we're going to be sending your kids or other people's kids to die in a war. It is always that. And because you're willing to do that and to make that tough call and make that hard decision, it gives you some type of gravitas. I have looked death straight in the eyes and sent other people towards
it. Not your death.
That is not, well, that's what makes it hard. It's one thing to decide that I myself am going to go to war.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in some way, that's an easy decision. I can either make it or not make it.
And that's a decision.
But it's a hard decision to make for other people.
Yeah.
There's this quote Ben Rhodes, a foreign policy guy under Obama, had that pissed a lot of people off, but I think it's true. All these newspapers used to have foreign bureaus. Now they don't. They call us to explain to them what's happening in Moscow and Cairo. Most of the outlets are reporting on world events from Washington. The average reporter we talk to is 27 years old, and their only reporting experience consists of being around political campaigns. That's a sea change. They literally know nothing.
And he was saying that, and that allowed us to manipulate them.
Exactly.
But it's a bigger problem than just smart people take advantage of that situation. We later in the show we'll play this question from Ryan Grimm, which was actually a really smart question and gets to how the potential to get out of this situation.